So welcome to Suvarnabhumi Airport, not my favourite place in Thailand and probably not yours either, but for the thousands of people arriving here every day for the first time, this could be the beginning of an amazing adventure. Suvarnabhumi opened in 2006, which would make it just over 19 years old, and it's always been up and down like a yo-yo in the league table of the world's best airports, and at the moment I think it ranks at number 21. It's a very busy afternoon here at departures, and even though it's full of people milling around, pushing trolleys, chatting and shouting, it's still quite serene in here. I think they've done a great job with the design of this terminal because it deadens the sound very well. This can also be quite a miserable place, and I've heard it called the Terminal of Despair. Some people have likened it to sitting on death row, and I can understand that because if you had a great holiday here, you've had so much fun, you've met the person of your dreams, then you've got to fly back home to reality, that can be really depressing. So just over there is a place where they're constantly mopping up tears. It's the infamous escalator of doom, and it's called that because that is where everyone says goodbye to their loved ones, and sometimes they don't know when or if they're coming back. Well, the mood down here in arrivals is a lot jollier than it is up there in departures, which is understandable. Obviously, people are going to be happier to arrive here than leave. But according to many YouTubers, though, no one's coming to Thailand anymore. Apparently, they're all off to Vietnam. But from what I've seen in the last few days, there's a lot of people arriving here at Suvarnabhumi, and that is only going to get higher as this month goes on, because after all, we are in high season. It was 1957 when the government first conceived the idea of building a new international airport just outside the city. They hired experts to conduct feasibility studies at various locations, and in 1960, Nong Nu Hao, or Cobra Swamp, in Samut Prakan province was found to have the most potential. So the government approved the site for the construction of Nong Nu Hao International Airport. But there was one small issue. The area was in low-lying, flood-prone swampland with soft clay-like soil extending deep into the ground. The potential runway location was a wetland with rice paddies and vegetable plantations. There are also several canals, including the Klong Nong Nu Hao, which was the main water discharge route for other canals, and a major boat route. As soon as the decision was made to proceed with construction, obstacles began to arise. A foreign construction company, Litchfield & Co, conducted a survey and reported that the ground was too muddy and deep, and no matter how much land was filled, it would collapse and never stabilise. So that company abandoned the project. After that, the government allocated ever-increasing budgets for foundation construction to various companies, which caused speculation about excessive spending. And with the political situation becoming more turbulent, with coups and constant changes in leadership, in 1973, construction was put on hold. So when the local villagers saw that their former land had been abandoned and left vacant due to the construction being put on hold, they were given the opportunity to make a living in the meantime. They tried replanting rice paddies, but there were serious issues because the soil and the sand that had been brought in to fill the land had introduced insects, worms, fungus and weeds. So this made rice farming virtually impossible. So the villagers switched to raising fish and growing vegetables. Then of course there were the snakes. After all, this area was called Don Mueang, or Cobra Swamp, for a very good reason. It was a hazard you faced on a daily basis, a risk that you took if you lived near or farmed this land. These potentially dangerous serpents had to be respected. In the 1970s, Thailand had 7 different prime ministers, and the focus has shifted to solving Bangkok's ongoing traffic issues. Mass rail transit lines and expressways were planned, and a new international airport was no longer a priority. In the 1980s, as Bangkok was expanding and tourist numbers went up, Don Mueang Airport was starting to feel the strain. I've come down to the quietest, the spookiest, the most deserted part of the airport. Now, I haven't hung around long enough to see if there's any ghosts around, and I'm not planning to either. But one thing you can't avoid here at Suvarnabhumi is the supernatural. So there's always been a supernatural connection here at Suvarnabhumi, and if you do a search, it's not that difficult to find countless stories of the land's ancient past. Over the centuries, it's been a burial ground for unclaimed bodies, disease victims, those without families. It's also been an Islamic cemetery at some point, as well as a battlefield during the reign of King Taksin. Add to that a few stories of black magic and curses, and you have a potential hotbed for supernatural activity. But this land is so vast that all that may well be true, and the snakes, well, they're here to protect the area. Folklore suggests that snakes ward off evil spirits. They are the rulers of the depths. They promote fertility and good fortune. And not just any old snakes, but cobras, loads of them, and they can still be seen around here today. During the construction, workers caught and killed hundreds of snakes, which caused disruption and further delays. Workers reported hearing strange sounds at night, tools moving on their own, shadows dancing in the scaffolding. One worker collapsed, and when he woke up, claimed he'd been possessed. There were also reports of a faceless woman watching people work and then vanishing. Others said they could hear distant screams and wailing. Some said they could hear Thai classical music being played, even though there was nowhere obvious it could have been coming from. Some refused to work and quit on the spot, too terrified to continue. Did the killing of so many snakes weaken their power? over the restless spirits. If I see another YouTube video or Facebook post by someone claiming that this is some kind of secret hidden food court only for Thais, then I'm going to go crazy, because that is definitely not the case. It is clearly signposted, it's on the ground floor, and you can get a cheap meal here, probably cheaper than anywhere else in the airport. So get yourself down to the Magic Food Court and join all the other cheap Charlie foreigners stuffing their faces. So I was reading Google comments, and one of the most complained about things here at Suvarnabhumi are the staff in the shops, particularly 7-Eleven here. And there's loads of comments saying that the staff never smile and they're not polite. But if you think about it, if you work in this 7-Eleven, what you have to deal with on a daily basis, obnoxious, entitled tourists demanding stuff and looking down at you, I know because I've seen it many times in this particular shop here, then you wouldn't smile and nor would you be very polite. Well, if your butler and your limousine is not available to pick you up, then there are alternative options for getting into Bangkok. One of them is to queue up for a regular taxi, but that means running the risk of the driver not wanting to put the meter on and quoting you an inflated price. Now, before you go crazy at the driver, you can blame all the previous tourists before you who got into his taxi and happily accepted the inflated price by converting it into pounds or dollars and thinking, ooh, that is very cheap, 1,500 baht to Asok. Alternatively, you can download the Grab app and get a fixed price taxi, but that means going over to the Grab pickup area, and that resembles a queue for a soup kitchen in King's Cross. So personally, I would give it a miss and just jump on the airport rail link into Bangkok. It'll get you there in about 30 minutes for 45 baht. Now, there are buses to Pattaya and Hua Hin. You might be sitting around waiting for a while, but they are very reasonably priced. Well, there's quite a few videos on YouTube telling you what to do once you arrive at Suvarnabhumi Airport for the first time, you know, the golden hour kind of thing. And these videos are great if you like being spoken to like a 5-year-old, but many tourists arriving in foreign countries for the first time are actually like 5-year-olds. These people need to be guided like idiots to places like the smoking room, immigration, where to pick up their baggage, how to smuggle things through customs, just kidding by the way, where to get a SIM card, where to get the best exchange rate, where the taxi rank is, where the food court is, where the airport rail line is, where to get a massage, etc, etc. But not one of these videos tells you how to get into Bangkok from the airport for less than $1. I did a video telling you how you can do this, and it is quite an adventure everyone must do at least once, if you haven't got many bags, that is. Anyway, I'll leave a link to this video in the description. Everywhere you go in this terminal building, there is a hum in the background. That's probably what you can hear. It's not my mics, not my recording equipment. They've got air conditioning systems, machinery, and elevators on 24 hours a day. So I will do my best to remove that in post-production. Although I don't want to go overboard on the noise reduction, otherwise I will sound a bit robotic or metallic, so I'll have to balance that. Anyway, I'm up at the observation deck. Most airports have them, some of them are outside. The one here at Suvarnabhumi is up on the 7th floor. Now it's 8 o'clock at the moment, there's not much of a view, but even during the day, your view is seriously obscured by the gantry, the windows, the metal frames. So if you do come up here with the zoom lens, hoping to get some good footage of takeoffs and landings, you will be sorely disappointed. Although there must be some great vantage points around the edge of the airport. I've seen those videos on YouTube. Anyway, enough of the negative. Let's get on to the positive. Let's talk about the fantastic design of this terminal building. You can always tell the YouTube videos where they didn't do enough research or it's an AI voice, because they'd always pronounce it Suvarnabhumi instead of Suvarnabhumi. But it's not that obvious really, and that's the way it's spelt, so I suppose they can't help it. If you're a tourist flying to Bangkok and you see it spelt that way, that's how you're going to think it's pronounced. Anyway, Suvarnabhumi was the name given to the airport by King Rama IX when he laid the foundation stone back in 2002. Originally it was going to be called Don Mueang International Airport, but Suvarnabhumi translates to the Golden Land. So when the construction company returned to this area in the early 1990s, they were surprised to find it had been turned into lakes and paddy fields for growing vegetables. In the 20 years that the government had allowed the land to be used, it had grown into a village of almost 2,000 households, made up of the original landowners and new residents. But all that was about to change. So by the mid-1990s, the need for a new international airport was firmly back on the agenda. A massive budget was allocated for construction, but before they could start, dozens of canals and swamps had to be filled in. Communities, 2 schools and a temple had to be moved, as well as the local district shrine, which had to be carefully relocated. Extensive groundwork began immediately, and 3 construction companies would join forces as the ITO joint venture. So it was hoped that Suvarnabhumi Airport would open by late 2004, but a series of budget overruns, construction flaws and allegations of corruption continued to plague the project. The airport was seen as the pet project of former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra, who was so convinced that everything was running smoothly that he camped at the airport overnight in a media stunt and even cooked everyone dinner. It was then scheduled to open in June 2006, but that was pushed back due to testing by the International Civil Aviation Organization. But finally, 3 months later, on the 28th of September 2006, Suvarnabhumi International Airport was officially open for business. The total projected cost of the project was around 2.7 billion US dollars, but the actual cost was estimated to be around 4 billion.
It's beautiful. It's modern in technology. It's big.
It's beautiful. It has also got very nice clean lines. Okay, typically German, I would say, right? Yeah. Okay.
Months after its opening, issues of congestion, construction quality, inaccurate signage, ill-equipped facilities and constant soil subsidence continued to cause issues, and by early 2007 cracks were discovered in the runways and the east runway had to be closed for repairs. Airport authorities maintained that the airport was still safe and resisted suggestions that the airport should be completely closed. So I've got to give a shout out to someone I know who works here at Suvarnabhumi Airport, but first I've got to reveal two things I've never said before about myself on YouTube. Nothing too saucy, don't worry. So back in 2017 I was planning to start a City and Guilds aircraft maintenance parts 1 and 2 course at Cornwall College, and that would have basically got me a job at any airport in the world. And I've always been interested in aviation maintenance, and there was 2 books I used to carry around with me at the time. They were Haynes maintenance manuals, one for an A330, one for a 747, and I used to be fascinated by these books. I'd read them any minute I got spare. And once I got pulled up by customs coming through Heathrow because I had too much tobacco, and they found these 2 books and thought it was really suspicious, like I was a terrorist. Why would I want to know the inner workings of these 2 planes? Anyway, I explained everything and it was all okay. They allowed me to leave with the 2 books, but unfortunately the aircraft maintenance course I couldn't do because I was advised that because I have epilepsy, it's not a good environment to work in with all that noise, because epilepsy is not just triggered by flashing lights and bright lights, it's also triggered by very low and very high sound. So unfortunately that didn't happen. But that brings us nicely round to aircraft maintenance here at Suvarnabhumi. So this is the technical area of the airport where the maintenance takes place, and this is the Thai Airways hangar, and here you can see planes that were decommissioned back in 2020 when there was a ban on air travel, and what happened was they missed their vital maintenance checks. And what happens is if they miss a certain number of checks, these planes basically have to be taken out of service, assessed, and now they're just waiting here to be broken down, the parts recycled or scrapped altogether. Now, aircraft maintenance is a very big business. It's very important that planes get meticulously checked in fine detail on a very regular basis. And when I was waiting to start my course on aircraft maintenance, I made a few friends online around the world and they would tell me stories. And one of them was a guy called Gareth, and he's based here at Suvarnabhumi. He's the general manager of Aviation Technical Consultants Limited, an independent company that provide technical expertise and consultancy during maintenance projects, asset review, aircraft transition, and any other major projects that require an experienced technical consultant. Now, Gareth has worked in aviation maintenance almost 4 decades. He started off at British Airways. He's worked with Air New Zealand, KLM, Kuwait Airways and Lufthansa. He's got maintenance licenses for Airbus and Boeing, and with the national aviation authorities in all the countries that he's worked in. And he also works out of Don Mueang and Utapao, but he's based here. Now, aviation technical consultants have a big reputation, and they're one of several small teams here at Suvarnabhumi that make your air travel possible. So I thought it'd be nice to give them a shout out, and hopefully they'll get a bit more recognition from this video. I've come to the northeast corner of the airport today. It's very hot, so I'm not going to hang around because I don't want to get sunburned, and there are a couple of dogs back there. So I've come to tick off 3 canals from my list of canals I've visited around Bangkok, and this one right here is the Klong Nong Nu Hao. That of course is the namesake of the area, Cobra Swamp Canal, and I'm not sure if the canals are full of cobras. I'm not going to jump in and find out. That canal over there joining it is the Klong Lakra Bang, and then just out of view, which runs parallel to the perimeter fencing of the airport, is the Klong Nong Pru. So there we are, 3 canals ticked off my list of canals I've visited around Bangkok, although we're not actually in Bangkok, we're just over the border in Samut Prakan province, but I won't tell anyone if you don't. Not a lot of people know this. I only found out about 3 weeks ago. There is a Suvarnabhumi Airport Museum, and it's on the 6th floor opposite exit 8 of departures. So if you've got a bit of time to kill, definitely worth a look. It shuts at 4 p.m, by the way, and basically it just gives you the history and the story of the airport. On our way in, we had a look at the logbook for visitors, and they had 2 visitors at 9 a.m. this morning. It's now 3:30. And we're the only other 2 that have come here today. So let's get this place on the map. Well, over the years, there's been quite a few guys who have decided to end their lives prematurely here at Suvarnabhumi Airport, and as a result of that, they installed higher barriers on the walkways and balconies around here. Now, there could be a number of reasons why someone would want to end their life here at the airport. Some people blame the demons and the spirits that haunt the airport for forcing them to do it, which I think is unfair because from the stories I read, it's definitely been human error rather than anything supernatural. There were so many stories of unexplained activity that 1 year before the official opening, 99 Buddhist monks were called in to perform a ceremony to appease any negative spirits. This exorcism ceremony took 9 weeks to complete. One day during this exorcism, a baggage technician collapsed mid-ritual, and when he came to, began speaking in an unfamiliar voice. He introduced himself as Pu Ming, an elderly spirit who claimed to be the guardian of the cemetery. He was angry that he had been disturbed, and he demanded offerings and respect, or else. To appease him, a spirit house was built near the Novotel Hotel, where staff continue to leave incense, flowers, and the occasional shot of whiskey. He seems to be happy with this arrangement. He's now considered a local legend, the unofficial supernatural mascot of Suvarnabhumi. The ghost of Pu Ming, who is said to be a shade of blue, is often seen in the guise of an old man with a walking stick. He, along with the other demons, are believed to stalk the terminals. These demons are often blamed for accidents and even suicides. So here at the back of the hotel there is a spirit house, although it doesn't say whether it's dedicated to Pu Ming or not. But there is a shot glass here, which is a pretty good indication that this is a place where people come to say prayers, leave offerings and give shots of whiskey to the spirit of Pu Ming. There's also the legend of a ghost who inhabits a concrete pillar in one of the customs storage rooms. Apparently she was a Burmese construction worker who fell into the formwork for a large pillar during the passenger terminal construction, and she was buried alive. When the steel formwork was removed, a human figure appeared in the pillar. The engineering team then ordered workers to chip away at the concrete to remove the body, but due to the strength of the concrete, only part of the body could be removed. The engineer then ordered cement to fill the cracks and plaster over them, but 2 patch marks remain. Shortly after the airport opened, night shift staff reported seeing a lady with shoulder-length hair walking around the room, which terrified workers. So a ritual was performed, and now people come to pay their respects and pray for lottery numbers. Well, that just about wraps up our history of Suvarnabhumi Airport. I hope you found it interesting, educational, or even exciting. Please do subscribe if you haven't already done so. Like, share, leave a comment. If you want to support me and support the channel, you can do so via the Buy Me a Coffee link on the screen here. That just leaves me to say what I always say. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.